The day has come. It is time for me to check into the Hotel Inferno. Now, the Hotel Inferno, this first one, or Hotel Inferno, the first one, is a movie that I got recommended by a friend of mine who was really into the company that makes these films called Necrostorm. He was a big fan of like Adam Chaplin and Tater City. So I checked those out and I thought they were pretty cool. And then Hotel Inferno came out. And I watched that and I just had such a blast with it. It's this, first person, like a video game style. If you've seen Hardcore Henry, then it's similar to that, except for a much lower budget and way more gore. The first time I ever really saw that style used was in the Doom movie with, Dwayne Johnson and Carl Urban. And I really liked it in that movie. I remember walking away from that movie being like, man, I wish they had more of that in there because that just looks so cool. And then we got Hotel Inferno. And I was just like, whoa, this is fucking cool. Like, I finally get a whole movie like this. And, then Hardcore Henry came out and that just blew me away. I thought that was like the coolest fucking action movie I had seen in forever and ever. So if you haven't seen Hardcore Henry and you want to see, and also Hotel Inferno, I highly recommend. So when I heard they were making a Hotel Inferno 2, it was like something I was just immediately stoked out of my mind about. And they said that they wanted to make it bigger and better and badder and all this. And I was like, cool. And they, put up a crowdfunding thing because they had like 90% of it done or something. And they wanted just some extra additional funds to make it as big and bloody and gory as possible. After after Hotel Inferno 1, which I just adored, as I said, I had to back Hotel Inferno 2. It finally arrived today on Halloween of all days. I was so happy to finally get it. I got my backer poster, my name on it. Which was really cool. I was really excited. I just wanted to, obviously help them out, but also I really, really wanted to see the film. So it's kind of like put your money where your mouth is. Now, getting into the film itself. Now, I didn't enjoy this as much as I did the first one, but it is still pretty much everything that they had promised, I feel. It is disgusting and vile and blood-soaked, gut-filled. It's, now, this is a film for gorehounds, especially practical effect gorehounds. The budget on these is lower, so the practicals don't look realistic pretty much at all. But it's in such abundance, and it's done so ridiculously over the top that if you're into that kind of thing, then this is definitely something that you need to check out. The first one is about a hitman who goes to a hotel on a job to kill somebody. And when he gets there, things go wrong and he realizes that he is killing for, some crazy ass people who want him to do some kind of a ritual. And it ends up going wrong and he unleashes hell and, these like demons are coming after him. And as I said, it's all done in first person and he's just shooting everyone. Their heads are exploding and ripping guts out and breaking fingers and ripping hands and heads off. And it's insane. And the second one, this one, I was very surprised. I didn't have any clue of what it was going to be about. But this second one is about the same guy who is now in hell after dying in the first one, and him trying to escape from hell. So the whole movie takes place in hell, and it is just graphic and violent and gory and just blood, like gallons and gallons and gallons of it. I mean, you're talking about scenes where a crucified demon that's protecting this bridge is giving birth to yet another like basically dead fetus that falls out of it. There's like the whole bridge is covered in dead babies, and this thing is, you know, basically like aborting yet another baby out of itself, smashing it, and then the guy's picking it up and he's beating this demon to death with his own fucking aborted babies. So, as I said, now I know that's a little bit of a spoiler, but I really want people to know what they're getting into. Like, that's one scene. There's 100 scenes like it, so that's just one scene. And it just, I think it does paint a very good picture of what you're getting yourself into, because I do not think that these kinds of films are for everyone. This is for hardcore gore fanatics who like just absolute insanity from beginning to end. This very much fits that. And by someone, I'm a fan of all walks. I mean, I like all horror, you know, I like most film in general. So I can find enjoyment in this, and I can find enjoyment in you know, much lighter toned films. So this one, you know, as I said, I did enjoy it. I thought that it had a lot. Mostly I watched this purely for the practical effects. I mean, storyline, stuff like that, just throw that kind of shit out the door. They make a small attempt at doing some kind of cool little thing, but for the most part it's just non-existent. It's purely there for the gore. Now, the gore does look fairly cheap at times, no doubt about it. There's moments where I was like, oh, that didn't look good. But it's in such excess that it's hard to even focus on some of the bad ones when they're constantly just throwing, you know, floating demon heads at you, and, you know, fucking people who are hung up on the wall and their innards are falling out and their chest cavities are ripped open. And it's, as I said, it's literally just like that. Now, the film is very short. It runs at an hour. A lot of Necrostome films only run like an hour. So, but it very much like is done by that point. I mean, after an hour, you're just like, okay. Like, it feels like it's time to end, and I'm glad that it did, because another 30, 40, 50 minutes of this, I would have just been like getting a little bored, because it would have been repetitive, redundant, and I would have just been like, all right, I get it. But the first one just was a little more fun. It was a little bit more action-packed and intense, like just scenes like, you know, these zombies and demons, I guess they're more like demons, are like constantly running at him, and he has like, you know, he has all these guns and he's blowing their heads off, and he's running. In this one, he's not really, up until towards the end, does he even have a gun? And I don't know, it changed the tone of it. It didn't have anywhere near as much action sequences, but it was nice for something new. I'm not complaining. I guess I thought that we were going to get something a little more like the first one, which is fine with me. I mean, you want to change it up, that's great, always. But I did. I had my expectations. There was a very brief trailer that I watched, and as far as like a description, I didn't even see one, so I knew nothing about the picture going into it, except for it was the same guys that made the first one, and that I really enjoyed that, and I had to be a part of this second one. So I'm glad I did. I recommend it. I mean, if you're a fan of Necrostorm and you're just here to be like, oh, well, I want to know, will I like it if I like the first Hotel Inferno? I think so, yeah. I have a person who is in my comment thread who's a big Necrostorm fan, and they seem to love it and think it was better than the first. And while I disagree that I think it's better than the first, I don't disagree that it was a pretty enjoyable film for a fan of Necrostorm. So this was better, much better than Sweet 313, which I wasn't pretty much a fan of at all. And I really enjoyed this one. So, as I said, please take caution on this kind of movie. It is fucking violent. It is not going to be for a lot of people.
Look, Mom, I'm famous.